Let's watch a couple clips of an anti-vax conspiracy theorist who also happens to be our Human and Health Services Secretary, RFK Jr., talk on Fox News shortly after his confirmation. Hey you, yes, you, we now have a Substack website where you can help support the channel. For just $8 a month, you can get daily articles exposing the chaos in Trump's first 100 days, a weekly podcast, and other exclusive perks, all while helping the channel grow and defend democracy. This is something that's not just very important to me, but enables us to get our message out to the most amount of people while also being just a genuine passion that I would love to pursue. So for those who have been wondering how to support the channel, how to help us grow, you can sign up now at the first link in our description. Thank you, and let's get back to the video.
The qualifications that Senator Schumer is talking about there are the very qualifications that got us to where we are today. These are the people who got us to be the sickest country in the world. We are 4.2% of the world's population. We buy 70% of the pharmaceutical drugs on Earth. We spend 2 to 3 times what other countries pay for healthcare, and we have the worst health outcomes. We literally have the sickest population in the world. Those are the people that got us there. We do need a break.
Wait, what? No, this is absolutely not true. We are one of the sickest developed countries in the world because we are also one of the only developed countries in the world that do not guarantee healthcare to all of its population. We pay more for the same medicines because we allow Big Pharma to be a monopoly where there are multiple buyers and one seller, which gives all the power to the seller, where in other countries there is a monopsony as there is only one buyer, giving the power of negotiation to the buyer. We pay more overall for healthcare than other countries for worse outcomes because the overhead to have all these different private actors and schemes and such is 8 to 16 times that of other countries. And then again, while paying that massive overhead, that increase in overhead, we're not even guaranteed the same level of care as these other countries. All of this is a thing because of the party that just nominated RFK Jr., Republicans, who want to make this even worse by even further pulling from this and privatizing the system even more. I can assure you it's not because of the professionals who test the medicines and vaccines that have eradicated numerous diseases over the decades. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take away anybody's vaccine. If people are happy with their vaccines, they ought to be able to get them. What we're going to do is give people good science. We don't have good safety studies on almost any of the vaccines. Vaccines are the one medical product that is exempt from pre-licensing safety studies.
This is a wildly untrue statement, so we're just going to stop him right there. Vaccines are one of the highest tested things on the planet. They go through lab testing first with cell samples and animal testings before they ever get to humans. Then they go through 3 phases of clinical trials with various different sizes of groups, controls, and focuses. Then the FDA has outside experts and scientists with them come in, review the data, test it, and give approval. Next, another outside group of experts with the ACIP, which is like an immunization committee, comes in, also reviews the data before then passing it to the CDC, who has their final review and testing before it then goes public. Once it's public, even after it's out, every single batch is still tested. Every facility that it's made in, sent to, is heavily monitored. There's multiple reporting databases to report on any adverse effects. This entire anti-vax thing is just by quacks who don't want to admit how successful publicly funded ventures are, especially in things like health and things like necessities. And they would just rather privatize everything, so they'll lie about it. And they have to pretend that anything funded through taxes is a massive failure, despite vaccines being one of the biggest successes of the public sector.
The only vaccine that is on the childhood schedule that had a placebo-controlled double-blind trial was the COVID vaccine. None of the other ones have. That doesn't mean you have to do that kind of trial now, but you need to know what the risk profile is for these products.
Do you think the COVID vaccine was safe and the boosters were safe? I mean, a lot of people talk about adverse effects.
We don't have good data on it, and that is a crime. The fact that we don't have a surveillance system that actually works.
Okay, few things here. First, I find it hilarious. The main conspiracy vaccine for MAGA is the one that actually had the study done that he's pretending vaccines need if he's going to consider them safe. But then he instantly still says the COVID vaccine, he can't say if it's safe. So it's like, obviously he doesn't even think that kind of study really matters. So why is he putting it on the other vaccines? Now, to take the mask off about this, because he's just using these words and studies, because most people probably don't know about studies, a double-blind double-blind study is just one where neither the researcher nor the participant knows who got the medicine and who got the placebo. And if you're just going to study something, sure, this is the golden standard, but it's not like this measures up any different than rigorous clinical trials, multiple reviews of data, and also real-world effects. Also, with vaccines specifically, there's ethical questions about doing double-blind studies. I'll get into that. I mean, especially with vaccines that have long existed and are proven effective. The COVID vaccine was done this way because it was new and to be rapidly deployed, and it wasn't done straight up how placebo studies, double-blind studies are usually done. Instead of like a straight placebo and just like a fake vaccine, it was compared against the existing standard treatment where it was found that the COVID vaccine was more effective. In cases like measles, for instance, however, with a real placebo, to do this, you would be subjecting someone to being unvaccinated, giving them a fake vaccine, so they would be unvaccinated to measles without any way of them possibly knowing that they're unvaccinated, putting them obviously at risk to contract the virus and die. The question is, how ethical is that when there's already rigorous clinical trials, multiple layers of review, as I just laid out for you guys, and then also, again, the real-world evidence of these existing vaccines eradicating the diseases that they're set out for with having minimal adverse effects ever being seen? How ethical would it be to just put them through these studies where people could get these diseases and die just because what? Because these quacks want to privatize vaccines? And I mean, RFK Jr. knows this, right? He's just singing the line that he was bought and paid for to sing by people who make a lot more money off of him to push this kind of nonsense.